Hi everyone, or the few of you that are doing this, Unit 2.9. I noticed that people were having trouble with invert linear functions and arithmetic operations. So this is a quick video on how to do both of those problems. First, what does invert linear functions mean? All right, so when we invert functions, all right, we switch the x and the y. That's it. That just means switch x with y, and then simplify. Simplify to y equals a linear equation mx plus b. That's what our thing says here. All right. So linear functions, this says f of x equals negative 2x plus 6. The first thing you might say is, hey, there's no y there. Where is the y? And I'm going to tell you that f of x and y mean exactly the same thing. All right, so I'm just going to put the y in there. And then I said an inverse is when we switch. So we're going to switch these two. We're going to put the x where the y is, and we're going to put the y where the x is. All right, so I'm putting the x over here. I switched it. And I'm going to put the y over there. Switched it. And that's an inverse function, except now we have to simplify to get y equals mx plus b. All right, and so we're just going to use our algebra skills for that. So what will I use? Black, I guess. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is subtract 6 from both sides. That cancels that out. And now we have x minus 6 equals negative 2y. And the next thing we do is divide by negative 2. All right, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide this by negative 2. I'm going to divide this by negative 2. All right, and that's going to give me an answer of negative x over 2. And negative 6 divided by 2, negative 2 is. All right, and so that's our answer. This piece right here is our inverse function. So that's our inverse function right there. All right, and so we're going to come over here and we're going to put it in our inverse function answer box. We're going to say negative x divided by 2 and plus, ooh, I wrote plus 6. That was bad. Plus 3. All right, and plus 3. Sorry about that. And enter. Is that what we want? There we go. Is that what we want? Yes. And we get the green check. Okay, so switch places, and you're done. That took about 3 minutes, so I think I'll probably do one more. Next problem. All right. Okay, so take all of this stuff and make it smaller and move it over here. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with this one. Of course, it has a fraction. However, we will not be defeated by fractions. F of x equals negative 1/3 x plus 7. First thing we do is change this y. Okay, that was pretty simple. This part's pretty simple too. We just change the places of these two. And we get x equals negative 1/3 y plus 7. Now we use our awesome algebra skills. Subtract 7 from both sides. Subtract 7. Okay. That gives me x minus 7 equals negative 1/3 y. Just one away. Okay, and now since we have a negative 1/3, what we're going to have to do is multiply both sides by negative 3. All right, so we're going to multiply both sides by negative 3. All right, and why did I do that? Because negative 1/3 times negative 3 over 1, these cancel out, and so it cancels out our little guy right here. So we only have a y left, just in case you were confused about how to do those fractions. All right, so, but now we have to look at this, and so we have a negative 3x when we do the distribution, and we have a positive 21, and those two canceled out, so equals y, and there's our answer right there. Negative 3x plus 21. Submit answer. Yes, I like it. Okay, so there's a couple examples of that one. All right. While it's thinking, get rid of this stuff over here. All right, now the next one was arithmetic operations of functions. These are pretty simple, except so it's going to have you, I think, only do subtraction. All right, so it says f of x minus g of x. Well, that's pretty simple. You just rewrite those. You might also see this in here. All right, f dot g of x. All right, and this means multiply, right? That little dot means multiply those functions. All right. Okay, so this says subtract them, so that's pretty easy. So f of x, we see f of x over here is equal to, and I'm going to put it in the form that you guys have been seeing it on your problems. All right, and g of x is x minus 4, and it says subtract them. All right, so I'm going to put f of x, x squared minus 10x plus 24, and I'm going to subtract and do x minus 4. Okay, now here's a tip. If you take the trouble to rewrite it that way, you can use a lot of different things to fix that. All right, but we're going to do it old school. All right, and we have this negative sign here, so we have to distribute the negative. So this is going to be a negative x and a positive 4. All right, so that negative means change the signs. Change the signs in here. So this negative sign became a positive, and this guy, even though I don't write it, was a positive, and she changed this negative. All right, and then so we just simply write these, x squared minus 10 x plus 24. So this is looking simpler all the time. Whoops, there's an x there. 10x plus 24. All right, so we take this 10x and this negative x. We have a negative 10 and then one more negative, so that gives us a negative 11x. And then I got these two numbers. I take this 24 and this 4, add them together, and I get a 28. And I just bring my x squared down from right here, and that's my answer. All right, so my answer is x squared, subtract 11x plus 28. Submit answer, yes. Okay, I didn't make any mistakes in that simple little problem. We'll go on to our next problem, and hopefully we'll get a multiplication problem. Next. Taking its time on next. There we go. Division problem. Okay. Well, luckily you know how to do synthetic division. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this stuff up here. And, oops. Sorry. Get rid of this stuff up here. All right, and this says x squared minus 3x minus 5, 4 divided by x subtract 9. All right, if you write it like that, I think you'll find a lot of things on the web that can help you with it. All right, we're going to do it this way. All right, so first we're going to have x minus 9, and our divisor is going to be the opposite of that. What makes that a 0? 9 makes that a 0. All right, so our divisor is going to be 9. All right, and then we are bringing down our numbers here. Is this a 1 right here? Right, so 1, negative 3, and negative 54. All right, so our first step is bringing this guy down, and the next thing we do is we take this 9 right here, and we multiply it times our number. All right, so we have 9 times 1, and then we are going to write that right here. That's a 9, and now we're going to add these together. All right, so we're going to add those. So we have a negative 3 and a positive 9. That's going to give us a positive 6. All right, then we repeat the step. All right, so we take our 9 and we multiply it times 6 and write it here, and we get 54. And then we add those two numbers together and we get a 0. Okay, awesome. And so what does that give us? That gives us a 1 and a 6. All right, and then I look back up here and I know this is going to be an x because I started with x squared and I'm going to have 1 less. All right, and so that's our answer, x plus 6. X plus 6. Submit, yes. X plus 6, and there's our answer. All right, I don't think we need to do any more of those. This one's another subtraction problem. I think you'll see some multiplication problems in here. So let's pretend this one's a multiplication problem. All right, and so you would see something like this, and so it would look like it would say, I want f times g of x. So that just means multiplication. So I would take f, which is x squared minus 6x plus 8, and multiply it. You can put that little dot in there if you want. Multiply it times x subtract 2. Okay, so no big deal there. I'm going to take x times x plus 2 is x squared. X times negative 6x is negative 6x squared. X times 8 is plus 8x. All right, so that's my x's. And then I'm going to have negative 2 times x squared, negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times that's negative 12x. Positive 12x, sorry. And negative 16. I add those together. I get x subtract 8x squared plus 30x minus 16. Now we're going to put that answer. We're not going to put that answer in because it asked us to do that. But when you see this symbol right here, it just means multiply. And all of you know how to do multiplication. Okay, I hope that helps. Finish that up and get a good grade.